130 HP, plus power gets you that extra 10 damage you need. So lots of really solid math here, and it looks like we're kicking it over to get this round number 2 started.
Yeah, it looks like they've already started. Alex, not the best of starts here. Has to bench an Oricori and attach double and pass.
Yeah, and also just played a single puzzle of time on his turn. Really not much going on over there on his side. That is a really, really unfortunate start for Alex Hill. Xander's start much better. Gets a float stone on his active. Is going to play an Ultra Ball here. Does have to get rid of a B-String and a Lycanroc GX, but can probably find a Buzzwole GX here if he wants to, and can definitely start to apply a lot of pressure here to Alex Hill.
Yeah, Jet Punch is going to kill the egg in the active spot, put some damage on Oricorio, but the biggest problem here is that he's applying pressure right away, and Alex is immediately on the back foot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really going to kind of, this game could come down to what are the 3 cards that Alex saw on that puzzle of time. Did he find a supporter card? Did he find an Ultra Ball, maybe a Tapu Lele, something to just get him out of this bad start that he has? Not what you want to be doing if you are Alex Hill to start the game off.
Yeah, Xander grabs that Buzzwole, shuffling up. Likely has a supporter there to find an energy. Alex's hand looks like Skyfield, Zoroark. Absolutely nothing to work with.
Not much at all. There's that energy card and a Sycamore. Going to draw him a clean 7 cards. Doesn't even discard any cards from that Sycamore. Just a fresh 7. Going to send up that Buzzwole GX. Xander moving very quickly here. Wants to get this game done, I think, really quick. Not going to play that Brooklet Hill, I would imagine. Doesn't want to give Alex the out of potentially benching a Sudowoodo with Brooklet Hill. Oh, and Alex does find an Ultra Ball.
Yeah, he did place that on the top with that puzzle of time. Able to bail himself out here. Looking first with Compressor. What do you think he's going to grab with this Ultra Ball when he does search?
You know, it probably will go for like a Tapu Lele GX. If he can find a Stadium card as well, which I think we do know he has that Skyfield in his hand, he can actually do 60 damage right now with Revelation Dance, Oricorio's second attack, to the Psychic Weak Buzzwole. If he finds a Choice Band, he can do even more damage potentially. But, you know, he could find the Tapu Lele, go for Bridget, but that's still not going to change his kind of poor hand, right? He does have a Zoroark GX in his hand, I believe, so he can, maybe get some trades going on the next turn. So I think we'll probably see the Lele for Bridget, but he does have other options here as well.
Yeah, he's kind of just looking through his deck right now, seeing what's prized. One of the biggest cards in this matchup for Alex is going to be that Mr. Mime that he runs, protect his small basics from Buzzwole's Jet Punch damage.
Yeah, the Jet Punch damage can be really devastating for these fighting decks, especially if they play that Wide Lens tool card, lets you hit for weakness on benched Pokemon. But we actually see in Xander's list here, he actually doesn't play, opting not to play the Wide Lens, so not quite going to be able to get there in that regard. But this Oricorio going to do a solid 60 damage here to Buzzwole GX.
Xander replaces with the Brooklet Hill.
Can definitely get another fighting or water Pokemon in play. Might want to get another Buzzwole out to try to get that set up. Can maybe even find the baby Buzzwole, try to get that going. Will be a good attacker at some point later on in the game, especially if Alex is able to knock out the Buzzwole GX on Xander's side next turn.
Xander does have a Tapu Lele in his hand. Could possibly grab a Guzma here, start killing Zorua immediately, put more damage on that Oricorio perhaps, set up a later knockout.
Yeah, I think that would be really strong on Xander's side of the field. Really want to, target down these Zoruas. It really just kind of hinders the Zoroark deck's setup. But no, actually wants to Colress here, valuing finding more cards a little more at this point in the game. Gonna shuffle in, and with 7 basic Pokemon, 7 benched Pokemon in play, he'll be able to draw 7 cards and see what he finds off this new hand to work with.
So he's presumably looking for an Octillery, get himself set up there, withdraw for the rest of the game. What else do you think he's looking for?
He may want to try to bench another Rockruff. He's already discarded one of his Lycanroc GXs, but he does play Super Rod in his list. If he is able to get another Rockruff in play, he's going to make sure he always has access to that Bloodthirsty Eyes and potentially a Dangerous Rogue. Do see another Buzzwole in his hand. We also see his A-Spec of choice in hand, Scramble Switch, an interesting A-Spec choice. We see a lot of these fighting decks choose to play it. Lets you, move a benched Pokemon to the active, and then also move any energy from the active Pokemon to the new active Pokemon. So really useful way to kind of play around some of the damage that might be put on these Buzzwoles earlier, like specifically the damage we see on Oricorio here.
Xander does use Jet Punch, the putting the damage on that Zorua, trying to set that up, but Alex immediately evolves to protect it.
Yeah, doesn't want to let Xander get that free prize on the bench. Looks like we do see a Choice Band as well. Did find a chorus as well on his trade. Field Blower can get rid of the energy, or excuse me, get rid of the stadium and the floatstone. And chorus is going to draw Alex Hill 7 cards now. And he's already used that one trade, but he can draw more Zoroark GXs here and just start chaining those trades together and just drawing so many more cards this turn.
Yeah, the biggest thing is finding at least another Zoroark to continue that draw, finding another stadium perhaps to attack with a bigger Zoroark if he can, or a double colorless.
Yeah, if he can find a stadium, a choice band, and the plus power, he actually would be able to get the knockout with Revelation Dance on the Oricorio with that Buzzwole that already has 60 damage on it. That's a lot of cards to pull off, and I don't think Alex was really anticipating that. I think that's why we saw him use that Field Blower to get rid of the Bricklet Hill.
Alex immediately concedes.
Wow.
Did not draw anything off of that. Could not really recover from his poor start, and Xander takes a quick game 1.
Yeah, and we see this is really smart from Alex, right? He had a bad start, only 5 minutes gone in the game so far, but he knows if he wants to win this round, he's got to win 2 games at this point. So wants to make sure there is plenty of time in games 2 and 3 for the games to finish, and that we can see a completion here in this round, and doesn't want to take a tie for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully this time he can get a much better start, actually start doing something on his turns, and put up more of a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's always the chance there. Like, that game wasn't over, right? Alex wasn't necessarily going to lose that game, but he just saw his position. He saw, hey, this is not looking good for me. I could play this out and have a marginal chance to come out on top, but I really just value the time more. It's so unlikely that I win this game. I'm going to go ahead and concede, move on to game 2, and we'll try to win 2 games from here to finish out the rounds.
Yeah, you can really see that knowledge of when to concede to conserve time. Both of these players have won regionals. They're no stranger to this environment, to this pressure. Alex is not sweating or anything. He's still got 43 minutes left in 2 games.
Yeah, plenty of time here. Alex is definitely comfortable. As you said, both of these guys, regional champions in their past, both good friends as well. I know these guys talk about Pokemon a lot together. So I'm sure we have probably talked about these 2 decks at some point throughout the week leading up to this tournament, trying to figure out which version they want to play. Do they want to play Zoroark? Do they want to play Buzzwole? Xander, obviously, here opting for Buzzwole. Alex opting for Zoroark. And, this is a matchup that I think is going to be huge throughout the tournament through the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
Buzzwole was just so anticipated to be so big heading into the weekend. I think a lot of players just really didn't expect much out of Zoroark this weekend, but so many top-level players have decided to bring Zoroark to the table still. Why do you think that is heading into this tournament?
It's interesting. I had a chance to listen to a lot of them talk about it last night, and it seemed like Zoroark was just able to beat any deck thrown at it, even Buzzwole, and they just felt that if this deck was able to run well and be played optimally, it had a chance against any deck.
Things are not looking good in Alex Hill's hand. I think he is starting Mr. Mime, and I think he has like 3 Puzzle of Time in that opening hand.
Ooh, yeah.
And a chorus. This is
brutal.
Not what you want to see. Let's see the top deck. Oh, it is a Compressor, and that's actually huge with 2 Puzzle of Time in his hand. Compressor will let him discard 3 cards from his deck, and then he can discard any card he wants to have access to basically this turn, and he'll have access to them with Puzzle of Time now.
Yeah, definitely. Opting to grab a Bridget to help set up, an Egg, conserve some resources. What's he taking with the 3rd card?
He may want to just get rid of like another supporter to have access to after the Bridget on the following turn. I think he maybe had another Chorus in his hand, so maybe he just wants to get another basic in play. Could get a Zorua, maybe just go ahead and have a Zoroark in his hand even. Actually going to get the Mewtwo EX, which I think is smart as well.
Definitely. Now he has it ready to go right away. Can put pressure on Buzzwole, Bridget.
Yeah, and something about Mewtwo EX, it is an EX, and with Bridget you can search for up to 3 basic Pokemon or 1 Pokemon EX. There is the option there, so he can't Bridget for 2 Zoruas and a Mewtwo. So by using the Compressor here with the puzzles, he's able to get Mewtwo in play, and then also still get 3 Zoruas on the bench. So it's a good way to find Mewtwo early on.
And actually, starting the Mr. Mime now seems pretty advantageous. It'll protect his Zorua on the bench from Xander's first turn here. Just helps the setup that much more.
Yep, and Alex does play 2 copies of Floatstone, so he shouldn't have too hard of a time finding a Floatstone next turn. Actually going to go ahead and set up here, draws himself 3 cards. Going to go ahead and just, he knows Xander plays Sudowoodo, might not be able to play that Shaman next turn, wants to go ahead and draw cards here.
Xander starts with a Floatstone and a Brooklet Hill, can take any fighting Pokemon here, and he opts to take Presumably a Buzzwole, I think.
Yeah, I would think so. He can actually get a knockout here on this Mr. Mime, and that is, it's good that it's going to protect Alex's bench this turn, but once it goes down, Alex is probably going to want to try to get that card back at some point. It's just really important in this matchup. So if Xander has a strong energy with the Diancie Prism Star on the bench, with that Princess's Cheer ability, will actually do 70 damage and knock out this Mr. Mime on Alex's side.
Yeah, Diancie is honestly one of the biggest toys that Buzzwole got with this new set. Being able to do 20 more damage to basics just puts that much more pressure on your opponent.
Yeah, it doesn't have the strong energy yet. Looks like he is going to go ahead and chorus here. Try to dig for it. Will draw 7 cards off of this chorus. Of course, chorus lets you shuffle your hand into your deck and draw a number of cards equal to the total number of benched Pokemon. Just such a good, consistent draw supporter option that we get in the expanded format that we don't have in standard. I know players love getting to play this card, especially in expanded with Skyfield. You can draw so many cards potentially with chorus.
Yeah. One thing about Xander's list here is he actually runs 2 copies of Muscle Band, which will do 20 more damage to the opponent's active Pokemon, but that's especially important against non-EXs and GXs like Mr. Mime here, so more outs to knock out this Pokemon right away.
Can find a strong energy or a basic and the Muscle Band. There's the Muscle Band. Does he have the basic energy, though? I don't think he drew one.
He does have a Max Elixir, so let's see if he hits this.
Going to be a big 6 cards here on the top.
He does get it.
Does get what he needs there. Muscle Band will let him get to that 70 damage, and he will be able to knock out Mr. Mime. Not going to get to do that extra 30 damage with Jet Punch to the bench, but still, I think Xander is going to be totally fine taking this knockout on Mr. Mime this early.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Xander, the rest of his field is not as good as he'd like. Doesn't really have anything of a follow-up here, but hopefully he can grab something good off his prizes.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting here to see what Alex does. Does he send up the Mewtwo EX here, or does he send up a Zorua? Xander didn't bench that Sudowoodo with that Roadblock ability, so Alex could blow up and get the knockout here with a Zoroark GX. That might be a little more likely to hit than to hit the pieces of plus power DC choice bands.
Yeah, definitely, and that can set him up for a future X-Ball with that plus power, with all the draw he's going to get from this turn.
Leaves himself access to it later on for sure. Going to go ahead and use Xander's Brooklet Hill to his advantage, get that Roadblock Sudowoodo in play. Xander can no longer bench any more Pokemon. We do see that Alex already has that Skyfield. Going to just need to find a Zoroark, a couple more basic Pokemon, and a double colorless energy. Going to go ahead and just chorus here. Going to draw 9 cards off of this. This is a lot of cards to be drawing here on turn 2 for Alex.
Interesting. So why do you think he didn't play that Skyfield there to try and take a knockout with Zoroark this turn?
Maybe... I'm not sure, honestly. I think that's the route he's going to be going for, right? Like, looking at this turn, you probably want to be taking the knockout with Zoroark GX. But, maybe Alex has something in mind that we're not thinking of here, why he wants to put that back in the deck. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm not really sure either. It looks like he does get another Skyfield, though. Could be he's trying to find the pieces for a Mewtwo.
Yeah. He may just, want to, try to sort of play around that Baby Buzzwole that he knows Xander plays, right? Because Baby Buzzwole for just 1 energy can take 2 prizes on a Zoroark GX, and that's not necessarily the best trade for Alex, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
that might be what he's thinking here. We're going to see the Floatstone bring up the Shaman. Ooh, just a pass, no DCE to use Sky Return.
That is unfortunate here. Xander probably was expecting some sort of return knockout, so now he has to figure out what to do.
Yeah, and as you said, his hand was not super strong. I see a Guzma there. We see Fighting Energies as well, Muscle Band, and a B-String, I believe. So he can Guzma and start to target down this. He can maybe take a knockout on this Zorua here. That would seem pretty strong to me. We'll see what he wants to go for.
He does opt to Guzma, does target that Zorua. So now where do you think he puts this 30 damage from the Jet Punch?
I think he can put it on to a Zoroark GX. I think that seems pretty good. He could also maybe target down the Mewtwo to make it easier to maybe knock out later with the Baby Buzzwole, right, if that is something that comes up. So those are both 2 solid options. Obviously, with Muscle Band plus Diancie and Strong Energy, if he puts 30 damage on a Zoroark GX, he can later on in the game just Jet Punch knock it out for 1 single energy. So it'll be interesting to see where he wants to put it. I think Mewtwo or Zoroark would be the best option for him, though.
He does put it on Zoroark, sends up that Mewtwo. He's ready to start going off here with this Mewtwo. hopefully find a plus power, which he does have
there it
immediately.
is. Plus power comes into play. Going to make Alex's attacks do 10 more damage this turn. If he can find a DCE and a choice band, we'll be able to knock out this Buzzwole GX for just the one attachment with the plus power. We see the strategy potentially paying off here. This is going to be a big 9 cards. After this, we'll still have access to 2 trades. So Alex is going to be seeing 13 cards here after this chorus.
Yeah, if he can take a knockout on this Buzzwole right away, Xander's hand still isn't the best. So Xander immediately going to be on the back foot here, trying to find something to do. Alex draws his 9.
3, 6, 9 cards come into play. Needs that double colorless energy and a choice band. Flashing his cards really fast. Not sure that I saw it yet. Does still have 2 trades, though. Going to see that propagation, bring execute into the hand. Can, of course, trade it away, draw himself 2 cards. There's an Ultra Ball. Could maybe find
He does
a
have the
Shaman.
double colorless in there. I do see it.
Can draw either Muscle Band, or excuse me, the Choice Band or the Computer Search. I think that is the Choice Band right there in his hand behind that Pokemon Communication. Think he may have been able to pull this off, but it may not be. He didn't play it down yet, so maybe he didn't get it.
Interesting.
Think it may be that Choice Band behind the Communication, but not positive. I think he does have 2 Puzzle of Time in his hand as well, so he maybe just has so many options with the rest of this turn. He's just kind of wanting to see, what else do I want to do here? How do I want to finish this turn out?
Thinking about something here. Double puzzle maybe. That could grab him something. He does have Ultra Ball for Shaman. Opts to double puzzle.
He's got so many cards in his hand, though. I'm not sure how likely it is. Oh, looks like he's just going to get the plus power once again, actually. Gets it back into the hand. Maybe he wants to take the knockout with Zoroark GX here. If he knocks it out with the Zoroark with 30 damage on it, though, all Xander would need is a strong energy, and he'd be able to knock out this Zoroark because of the 30 damage already on it.
Yeah. Looks like he's counting how many basics he'll need with that plus power. I'm thinking he's not going to play the plus power, conserve it for a future Mewtwo attack.
Yeah. Yeah, even though the plus power did go back to his hands, the effect is still in place, so he will still do to, be able to place 20 more damage. So I think he must have whiffed the choice band, and that's why we're having to see him go for the play here. He can still fill his bench and do 190 damage with Zoroark GX. Does need 2 more benched Pokemon. With Execute, he can do it if he needs to. Execute does unfortunately get knocked out by Buzzwole GX's Jet Punch, so maybe wants to find another basic if he can. Looks like Tapu Lele. Maybe using Wonder Tag, maybe not actually. Yeah, gonna go ahead and use Wonder Tag.
Could be just thin in the deck. Taking a Hex, probably for next turn.
Yeah.
Retaliate with the Hex. The thing with this knockout here is that Xander, if he can kill this Zoroark, will go down to 1 prize and then still have access to future Beast Rings with this first KO.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah, could be a big turn here. Alex, is going to be activating Xander's Beast Rings here, so he can use that. I think we did see one in his hand earlier, and it is still there. So we'll be able to get a Knuckle Impact knockout. Worst case scenario, maybe an Absorption. It does top deck the Lycanroc. Still no supporter, though, which is really unfortunate for Xander Pro.
He will be able to attach to this Rockruff on the bench here with the fighting in hand, but if even after this knockout, Xander is not in a good position here to capitalize on this.
No, he'll be able to take the knockout here. Well, no, if he attaches to the benched Rockruff, he does have Lycanroc and 1 more energy in his hand, so can set up for a dangerous Rogue win on the next turn. I wonder if he'll put the Lycanroc GX in play this turn, could knock out that clean, undamaged Zoroark GX on Alex's bench, or even knock out that Mewtwo EX, honestly. Just deal with that potential threat. And it also means that all he needs is an energy for the next turn to dangerous Rogue any 2 prize Pokemon. So we'll see if he chooses to play Lycanroc or not. May want to hold it, though.
Attaches to the Rockruff.
I think this is what he's debating here. Does he want to knock out anything on Alex's bench, or does he just want to take this Knuckle Impact KO on to Alex's active Pokemon? Alex now won't need that plus power as much. We'll just be able to, use the X-Ball with Mewtwo EX, take the knockout with the Psychic Weak Buzzwole.
Xander does opt to evolve into Lycanroc. Doesn't look like he uses Bloodthirsty Eyes, so he's opting to take out this active Zoroark, maybe limit Alex's draw.
Yeah, I mean, if he takes out something on the bench, he's going to leave Alex with an energy, right? And then Alex is just going to knock out the Buzzwole, based on what his board is. So Xander wants to just take out the thing with energy, force Alex to find 1 more card this turn.
Alex is in a pretty good board state here, but that energy on the Lycanroc means Xander is just 1 card away from winning after this knockout here.
Yeah, I think if you're Alex here, you're definitely going to want to find an in this turn if you can. And I think you really have to hope that Xander just doesn't draw an energy card to use Dangerous Rogue. I think that's what Alex has to do here. He can maybe try to attack with a non-EX Pokemon, maybe attacking with Oricorio here, but that's not even going to be able to knock out this Buzzwole, so not sure what he's going to be able to do. Ultra Ball will discard those 2 Executes that he just used Propagation for. Can find another Zoroark GX. Ooh, actually see the Foul Play Zoroark. That could be huge here. Could use that to copy Knuckle Impact or Absorption GX to potentially get the KO.
Yeah, using a Foul Play to knock out this Buzzwole, if he can pull that off, that'll be huge because it upsets the prize trade, especially after Xander used his Lycanroc already to pull something or to not pull something up.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it makes sense from Xander, right? He wants to go ahead and evolve it so that way if Alex does play an in, puts him down to 2 cards, he's already got the Lycanroc. All he needs is the energy card for the win, theoretically, right? But, here at this point, Xander's going to probably need a Guzma plus an energy, and, Alex maybe not having to prioritize using that in as much this turn because he knows Xander hasn't really been drawing much so far this game. He knows his hand has been dead the past few turns, but maybe there's something that Xander got out of those last 2 prizes that have potentially bailed him out here.
Yeah, we do see that Alex grabbed that Hex last turn with the Lele, so now he's playing that, and now Xander is basically in top deck mode here. Alex takes the knockout on this Buzzwole.
Yeah, what does Xander send up? He could send up the Lycanroc GX and actually honestly just use Dangerous Rogue to deal with this Zoroark if he wants to do that, but then Alex can win by finding a Choice Band DCE and a few Pokemon to knock out with Riotous Beating, so it is certainly a tough spot for Xander Pro. It looks like his prizes didn't help him that much because he does have a Sycamore.
Ooh.
He might want to send up one of these other Pokemon, the DNC Prism Star or the Remoraid, and try to find a Float Stone to move it later on. He does play the 2 Float Stones as well as the Scramble Switch, but actually going to just go ahead and send up the Lycanroc. There's the Octillery. Cannot use Abyssal Hand this turn, though.
Yeah, something Xander does have, possibly. He can Sycamore, maybe find a Buzzwole, and then find a Sudowoodo to eliminate Alex's ability to knock it out.
Yeah, it looks like Brooklet Hill does come in play, and if he has access to Sudowoodo, I bet it will hit the bench here. Yeah, before he uses the Brooklet Hill, Alex does need to discard a couple of Pokemon for the Skyfield being removed. Probably just going to get rid of some Shaymins, I would think. Looks like those 2 are going to hit the discard pile. And Xander will go ahead and use that Brooklet Hill. And like you said, I got to imagine this is going to find that Roadblock Sudowoodo. If he has access to it, at least.
Yeah, it looks like he's sitting there thinking maybe it's his last prize, or one of his last 2 prizes.
Ooh, eyeing up a Rockruff. Maybe he doesn't have access to it. Does have the Baby Buzzwole as well. That could be an option. Not going to be as good here at this point since Alex is only at 2 prize cards, but could get a knockout as a 1 prizer if he had like an Elixir in his hand. But no, actually Princess's Cheer is not active right now because of Hex Maniac, so wouldn't actually be able to get there.
Yeah, and Xander knows that Alex has a book of cards in his hand here, so presumably he's got something. So he's trying to set up for the hope that maybe Alex whiffs on this turn and he can use another Lycanroc next turn to win.
That's really what it's going to come down to here, I think. We're going to see the Dangerous Rogue GX does take out that Zoroark. Does Alex have the cards he needs? Going to need a Choice Band plus a DCE and 4 basic Pokemon and the Skyfield. Seems like a lot to ask for, but when you're Zoroark GX, you have access to all these trades. It definitely is very, very likely. I think he's got the multiple Executes as well. We're going to see the Skyfield come into play. We see an Ultra Ball as well. There's Choice Band, double Colorless Energy.
Looks like he's got it.
I think he does if he has all of his Executes in the discard pile. Actually going to use Pokemon Communication. There's
the last
1
egg.
Execute. Still needs 1 more basic Pokemon. There it is.
He does have it.
And all Alex does here is retreat. Riotous Beating will take a knockout here on to Lycanroc GX, and Alex is going to win game number 2 here.
Yeah, now we've got almost 30 minutes here for Game 3. That was pretty well played by Alex there.
Absolutely.
Using the foul play was very good to upset that prize trade, keep him in the game.
Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate for Xander, right? He had a solid start, was able to take some early knockouts, got rid of that Mr. Mime, which can be really annoying for these Buzzwole decks to deal with. But Alex's, setup was really strong, and Xander's setup was not that good, right? He didn't have his Octillery in play, wasn't able to find it early enough. When he finally found it, he was under Hex Maniac, couldn't use it, and didn't play any supporters through like the last few turns of the game. So really unfortunate for Xander Perot, but we do have one more full game to go here in game number 3. Heading into this third game, do you think either of these players need to adjust their strategies heading in?
Xander should probably work on playing some more supporters, I would say, to start. But other than that, I felt they both played it well. It's interesting with the Buzzwole decks. It almost seems like they stumble into these prizes. Xander was one prize away from winning that game and taking the set, and he didn't really do anything that game. So
Yeah, Buzzwole is definitely a very powerful deck where, even though Xander, like you said, wasn't playing that many supporters throughout the game, just drawing energy cards is all you need sometimes with Buzzwole GX. Just getting energies in play. You have such a low-maintenance attacker in Buzzwole GX with just being able to Jet Punch for so much damage against these Fighting Weak Zoroark GXs.
Yeah, one thing we actually haven't seen come into play at all on Xander's side is that baby Buzzwole. He's always seemed to kind of blitz past that perfect 4 prize mark. Let's see, starts with a Lele.
Yeah, definitely going to have to see if that comes into play. Going to just be an N to start with. Has
ugly hand.
A really unplayable hand besides the N here. Thankful for him that he has it, and each player will shuffle in and draw 6 cards.
Hopefully he's going to get some sort of Brooklet Hill off of this N, or a Buzzwole, something to get started here as far as setup goes.
Yeah, really wants to find, I think, Rimmerade here, wants to get those Rockruffs in play, get his evolutions going. You just see a handful of energy. Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
3 energies, 2 Rockruff, and a Max Elixir, the cards drawn by Xander Perot here. Not super strong. Gonna be able to attach an energy at least, but looks like Xander might be in top deck mode here.
Yeah, it's interesting, the attachment to that Rockruff. Now that gives Alex the potential to knock it out with a Lele right away before Xander can use the Lycanroc.
Well, not quite, actually, with that new Rockruff from Forbidden Light actually having 70 HP. Energy Drive would not quite be able to get there, but we know Alex does have the plus power, so he could have the combo of Guzma, Lele, DCE plus power, knockout on Rockruff. But that's a lot to ask for in your opening hand, I think.
Yeah, shows how much I know. Alex opts to level ball for Mr. Mime right away. This is great. He can look through his deck without using that Bridget to take the Mime. And he does have the raw Bridget here to just get started with a perfect setup.
Yeah, Raw Bridget going to be so good. Doesn't have to get a Lele in play yet. It's actually interesting. Alex has a red card in his hand. He could choose to play it potentially, and that would actually kind of bail Xander out. I'm sure Xander would love to see a red card here because his hand is totally unworkable at this point. But we'll see if Alex chooses to play it or not. Maybe wanting to hold it for one more turn.
Yeah, we'll see if Xander is good at poker here with this bluff of this hand. Honestly, I think passing here from Alex could be great. Save that red card for a turn with a Hex.
I agree. For sure. Does have a Guzma in his hand. It looks like a Pokemon Communication as well. No, that's actually the plus power.
Almost double supporters. Realizes you can't do that.
Good job, Alex. Don't cheat today. And looks like just another energy attachment. Looks like the top deck was not anything good for Xander.
Now Alex is in a perfect spot. He can take command of this game immediately. Lele's for supporter, Colress, fresh 7.
Yeah, should be able to. You would think get a knockout here. 4 Zaruas in play could potentially, just draw what he needs to get the KO here on this Lele this turn. Gonna go ahead and choose to play the plus power as opposed to maybe saving it for later on when a Buzzwole GX comes into play. But it's actually kind of interesting. You almost have more access to the plus power when it's in your discard pile than you do when it's in your deck, right? Alex's only way to search it out of the deck is computer search. But when it's in the discard pile, he does have those double puzzle of times that he can use to get it back.
He's got access to it at all times. Going to draw his 7 here. Really just looking for as many Zoroark as he can. He does have a double as well. Can start applying immediate pressure and a Sky Field.
Let's see if what he finds here off of this trade. Number 1 comes out. 2 double colorless energy off of that trade. Has 3 DCs in his hand now. But does still have another Zoroark GX. Can keep this trade trend going.
Unfortunately, has to trade one of those doubles. Not the prettiest. He does get a red card here, but he knows Xander's hand is dead. Not going to bail him out with that one.
Yeah, he doesn't get the knockout here. Oh, well, actually, he does have a Ultra Ball. Could maybe find a Shaman EX and try to dig for a couple more cards.
Looks like he's playing it. Does take the Shaman. If he can get this knockout, Xander is in a dangerous position.
Does just need one more benched Pokemon because of that plus power. That'll put a total of 8 Pokemon in play, 160 damage, plus 10 from plus power. So the plus power could actually really make a difference here. Does he find the one more basic Pokemon that he needs? Oh, flashed his hand really fast. Looks like he did find it. Gets that Tapu Lele GX. Gonna use Wonder Tag real fast. Obviously can't play a supporter here, but the big thing is just finding that Lele to get this knockout.
Yeah. Could take a Hex for next turn or another Colress to set up, but at this point it doesn't really matter what he takes. Xander's going to need to draw something immediately.
You know, and all Xander really needs to just hop right back in this is if he top decks a supporter card and can find a Lycanroc plus an energy, he'll be able to Dangerous Rogue and take this knockout, and that'll put, you know, these guys on even prizes, actually. So even though Xander's had a bad setup these last 2 turns, the game is certainly far from over.
Alex is checking his hand for anything else to do. Does take the knockout,
wow.
So we'll see what Xander has.
The perfect 170 with that plus power. Does Xander have anything?
I'm going to guess no.
Doesn't look like it. You can just tell by his body language. This is not looking good for Xander Perot.
Come on, Xander.
Looks like, oh, we might just see, I think it is not Wild Kick. I think it's like Surprise Attack, the attack on Rockruff, something along those lines. Going to actually go ahead and Max Elixir here. Look at the top 6, see if he can find an energy.
He does get a fighting, but it doesn't really matter. These Rockruffs are not the strongest Pokemon to take these knockouts.
No, I mean, he can do a decent chunk of damage here. The attack does, I don't remember what it's called, but it does 50 damage. Flip a coin. If tails, it does nothing. So if he flips heads here, he could do 100 damage to this Zoroark GX. So definitely not ideal, but he's still doing a decent chunk of damage. Here it is, coin flip.
It doesn't get it. That seems to be pretty par for the course for Xander here.
That is just not good for Xander. Looks like we're going to see Counter Catcher traded away. Not going to be able to use that at this point. I think Alex knows I'm going to be ahead most of the rest of this game.
And if I'm Alex here, I think all I'm going to be doing is just using Hex Maniac for the rest of the game. Just try and lock Xander out of the game here.
You know, honestly, like, Hex Maniac isn't even that necessary. Xander, he's probably assuming Xander only plays one Tapu Lele GX, and it's already been knocked out, right? So, actually, Alex, very smart play here. Gonna go ahead and use the Hex Maniac, but he's gonna go ahead and attack with Tapu Lele GX to take the knockout. Ultra Ball from Xander.
Ooh, but that Hex Maniac, if he did run a second Lele, couldn't bail him out. He's got nothing here.
He can get another basic Pokemon at least to put on the bench to not just lose the game next turn, but this is not looking good.
Looks like he's opting to take this Lycanroc. At least draw some sort of blood here from Alex. Hope maybe Alex can't get a knockout or something, but Xander pretty much knows that this one is over.
Yeah, Alex has so many cards in his hand. 2 Zoroark GXs in play, 2 more Zoruas that can become Zoroarks. It's not going to be hard for Alex to get this KO here. Dangerous Rogue, you can just tell Xander is not satisfied with how this game has gone. All Alex is going to need here is 2 more benched Pokemon, Choice Band and Double Colorless Energy, or even like a Field Blower plus Double Colorless Energy. He doesn't need that, but I guess he doesn't need the Double Colorless. That's just another potential combo he could use this turn. So
trades a Getsus.
There's the Choice Band. And the Field Blower, actually. If he has the basic Pokemon, he just has it.
He's got an Oricorio in his hand as well. Trades again.
There's the Sudowoodo. Field Blower gets rid of the Float Stone. There you go.
Brutal.
That is going to be the game. Taking out Xander's last Pokemon in play.